A diamond-shaped, molten-looking craft in Serbia matches descriptions from leaked government documents, jellyfish-shaped UAPs gliding through the streets of a Mexican city, and strange objects zipping straight out of the ocean off California. These are more unexplained objects in the sky caught on camera. First up, we've got a Tic Tac shaped UFO off the coast of California. So this footage came out during a congressional hearing on September 9th, 2023 by the Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. It was recorded on February 15th, 2023 aboard the USS Jackson, west of San Diego, and Chief Alexandro Wiggins was watching it happen live. You can hear him commenting in the background as this luminous Tic Tac shaped object rises straight out of the ocean. It zips back and forth for about 15 seconds before suddenly accelerating, disappearing almost instantly. Wiggins said what he and the crew saw didn't move anything like a plane or a drone that they know of. According to Wiggins, the object had no exhaust, no wings, nothing you would expect from a conventional aircraft. On December 26, 2018, in Neza City, Mexico, a man named Dr. Jaime Lun Becerra and his daughter were outside their home when they noticed what looked like a floating object descending slowly into the street. The longer they watched it, the stranger it looked. In Becerra's own words, it was an orb or sphere that came down. I was staring at it for a few minutes when I noticed this thing had these extensions that came out of it, almost like appendages, end quote. He went on to say that what he originally thought were lights weren't lights at all. He described it as some kind of glowing material, almost like fabric, shifting and moving on its own, and then it changed again. He said the object morphed into an almost humanoid shape, but not a clear one, more like a figure that was partially hidden, similar to the cloaking effect from Predator, which was his exact comparison. At one point, the object just stopped and hovered in place, almost like it was observing the area. In the CCTV footage, you can see both him and his daughter reacting to it in real time, clearly trying to process what they're looking at. After that, it shifts again and moves out of view. This was reported years before the US military jellyfish footage from Iraq was released. Watch part 1 if you want more info on that. But comparing the two, there are a lot of similarities here. The way it moves, the appendages, the way the surface seems to change instead of staying solid. It's weird stuff. And this bizarre video was filmed in Belgrade, Serbia on April 28th, 2020. And I do mean strange. When the camera person zooms in on the thing, you notice it's not only diamond shaped, it looks like it's made of molten lava. Is it a clever hoax? Maybe CGI? Well, the extra cool thing about this object was filmed by multiple people. So yes, something was definitely in the sky that evening. The deleted Reddit user who uploaded the first clip I showed you there wrote in the heading, "The surface of the craft perfectly matches the description in the Immaculate Constellation document. Dynamic, roiling like the surface of the sun with intense luminosity." Now, for those of you who are unaware of the Immaculate Constellation document, it's something that came up during a US congressional hearing in November of 2024. It wasn't released officially, it was handed over by a journalist who said it came from a government source. The document claims there's a hidden program set up around 2017 that collects and stores UFO footage and sensor data from things like drones, satellites, and military systems. In one section, it talks about craft that aren't solid in the normal sense, but instead look, quote, roiling like the surface of the sun, almost like they're made of moving energy instead of metal. And that sounds a lot like this UAP in Serbia to me. Back in July 2010, something unusual showed up over Xiaoshan Airport in China and ended up shutting the whole airport down. So a flight crew preparing to land reported a twinkling object in the sky, but when air traffic control checked, there was nothing on radar. Even with that, they didn't take any chances. Every flight was grounded and incoming planes were diverted to other cities. For about an hour, everything stopped. Close to 2,000 passengers were affected. It was the first time an airport in China had ever been closed because of something like this. At the same time, people on the ground were seeing something as well. Some described a glowing fireball moving across the horizon, while others captured photos and videos of this long and narrow object with bright lights along it. One man who was out walking with his wife said, "I felt a beam of light over my head. Looking up, I saw a streak of bright white light flying across the sky. So I picked up the camera and took the photo." Another witness, a bus driver named Yu, said the object suddenly moved off to the west, like it was, in his words, escaping from something. To this day, there's never been an official explanation for what caused the shutdown that night. object. This footage got out in 1995 and shows something being tracked out over the Nellis test range in Nevada. This wasn't just someone spotting a light in the sky. The video is coming from a range tracking camera, the same kind they used to follow jets during test flights. You can see the system actively tracking it the whole time, readouts for its position updating as it moves. It shows up as this bright, uneven shape. At one point, the system switches to auto track, tries to follow it, and then just loses it. The operator had to take over manually to keep it in frame. What makes it stranger is the radar side of it. See, early on there's a return, so something is there. Then the signal starts breaking up and eventually drops out completely, while the camera is still locked onto the object in the exact same area. So visually it's still there, but radar just stopped picking it up. Nothing was ever officially explained. This footage comes from April 5th, 2023. A group of hunters near Coos Bay, Oregon spotted something weird in the sky. A cube-shaped object hovering about 50 feet off the ground, maybe 300 feet away from them. They were out in this clear-cut area when one of them grabbed a camera and caught the short clip before they all just walked away, not thinking much of it at the time. I guess they were focused on their hunting. They didn't even remember seeing it until later, when the guy was going through his phone and came across the video again, and then suddenly the whole memory of that day came back. The footage is not crystal clear, obviously. You mostly see this dark shape against the sky, but whatever this thing was, it wasn't moving like a drone or a plane. But what do you all think? Don't forget to share those comments down below. This next video got a lot of attention when it first hit the net back in March of 2020. The footage was captured in Montreal. Someone got this beautiful footage of the moon in the late afternoon, but something very bizarre showed up. These mysterious white objects start floating past the moon. People have jokingly, or maybe not so jokingly, referred to them as space whales. Very strange video, and I love some of the comments on the Reddit post as well, which are, a little time capsule of 2020. Like one person who said, "It's aliens coming to rest that Carol effin' Baskin." There's this little stretch of time in those early lockdown days where everything was just Tiger King references all the time. People said that I look like Tiger King. I heard that from multiple people. So this clip popped up on Reddit just over a year ago. It was filmed in Iraq. Something is clearly gliding through the sky, but is it a drone? That's what you might think at first, but honestly, it doesn't really look like a drone that I've ever seen. Maybe it's some kind of experimental military craft, but the shape is what people immediately notice. It's very unusual. Rather than flat or perfectly round like most of these objects, this one is upright. Looks like Boba Fett's Slave One from Star Wars. People around the world have seen similarly shaped objects in the sky, like Reddit user Pelican Biplane, who wrote in the comments, "I saw this exact thing with 4 friends during a white-winged dove hunt south of San Antonio. We set up in the middle of a field at daybreak. As I was searching the sky for white wing, I see this thing flying towards us from the north. I yelled out to my buddies, who all yelled back, 'What the F is that?' We all watched it fly over our field and then over the tree line. One of my buddies said it looked like the Monarch's Hive from Venture Bros, just all black." About a year ago, people across Western Australia started reporting strange lights in the sky, and there's no clear agreement on what they were. One of the first sightings came from a father and son, Shane and Bradley Plain, who were driving along the coast. Shane pointed up at what looked like a star, but something about it was off. Bradley said the lights didn't stay still. They were shifting around, sometimes forming patterns instead of moving like normal aircraft or stars. Not long after, more reports started coming in from different towns, some of them hundreds of miles apart. A man named Matt Woods from the Perth Observatory looked into it and said the spread of sightings didn't make much sense. He checked flight radar data and found no aircraft in the sky at the time. His first thought was that it could be some kind of experimental drone, but it wasn't anything to confirm that, so this one still has no official explanation. And that has been the video. I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next one.